Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to another video today. My name is Chris, and we're once again going to be taking a look at the map of the non-liquidating and liquidating Sears and Kmart stores. That, yes, this map has been updated as of Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. So with the closure of the Sears store at the Sunrise Mall NY in Massapequa, New York, and the closure of the Kmart store at the Shops of the Buccaneer in the Bronx, New York, we are now down to 14 Kmart stores and 18 Sears and Roebuck stores. Combine both numbers together and you get approximately 32 non-liquidating Sears and Kmart stores. So before we go over the map, we're going to go into the list of the liquidating and non-liquidating stores and everything on the list. So without further ado, let's get started on that list. Alright, so these are the following locations that we have. So, total of 14 Kmarts, 18 Sears and Roebuck stores, or Sears stores, total of 32 non-liquidating stores. So it's a lot to break down. So we're going to first start off with the non-liquidating stores. So these are the following Kmart stores that are not liquidating or have not permanently closed as of Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. So the Kmart store, the freestanding Kmart store in Tallman, Guam, the Kmart store at the McKnight Crossing Shopping Center in Grass Valley, California, the Kmart store at the Key Plaza Shopping Center in Key West, Florida, the Kmart store at the Kendall Lakes Plaza Shopping Center in Miami, Florida, the Kmart store at the Bitterroot Valley Shopping Center in Hamilton, Montana, the Kmart store at the Delco Plaza Shopping Center in Avenel, New Jersey, only Kmart within New Jersey to operate 7 days a week. This was the only Kmart today to operate since it does happen to be a Sunday. And meanwhile, the other Kmart store is the Kmart store at the Westwood Plaza Shopping Center in Westwood, New Jersey, and must be closed on Sundays because of the Bergen County Blue laws that prevent this retailer from opening its stores. Hence why the Kmart store at the Delco Plaza Shopping Center in Avenel, New Jersey operates 7 days a week, while the Kmart store at the Westwood Plaza Shopping Center in Westwood, New Jersey operates 6 days a week because of the Bergen County Blue laws. So we have and then that's New Jersey. So New Jersey 2, and then the rest, Florida 2, 1 in California, 1 in Guam, and 1 in Hamilton, Montana, New York. There are 2 Kmarts left. We have the Kmart store at the Bridgehampton Commons Shopping Center in Bridgehampton, New York, and with the closure of the Kmart store at the Shops at Buccaneer in the Bronx, New York, the Kmart store at the Bay Plaza Shopping Center in the Bronx, New York is the last Transform Co. store that is not liquidating within the 5 New York City boroughs, and again, it's the Kmart store at the Bay Plaza Shopping Center in the Bronx, New York. The other Kmart stores, we have the Kmart store at Plaza Las Americas Shopping Center in Hathaway, Puerto Rico. We also have the Kmart store at the Sunshine Mall in St. Croix, United States, Virgin Islands. The Kmart store at the Sunny Isle Shopping Center in St. Croix, United States, Virgin Islands. The Kmart store at the Tutu Park Mall in St. Thomas, United States, Virgin Islands. The Kmart store at the Lockhart Garden Shopping Center in St. Thomas, United States, Virgin Islands. Now, we do meanwhile get to Sears. And Sears, there are now 14 stores that are currently not liquidating, with SB360 Capital Partners LLC or not closing abruptly. So California has a total of 4 Sears stores left. So we have the Sears store at the Burbank Town Center in Burbank, California. The Sears store at the I'm just calling them Sears for simplification, but yes, these are all Sears and Roebuck stores. So we have the Sears store at the Burbank Town Center in Burbank, California. The Sears store at the Sun Valley Shopping Center in Concord, California. The Sears store at the Webster Town Mall in Stockton, California. The Sears store at the Whitwood Town Center in Whittier, California. The Sears store at the Sears Town Plaza in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The Sears freestanding store in Miami, Florida. The Sears store at the Florida Mall in Orlando, Florida. The Sears store at the Gardens Mall in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. The Sears store at the South Shore Plaza in Braintree, Massachusetts. The Sears store at the Francis Scott Key Mall in Frederick, Maryland, the Sears store at the Newport Center Mall in Jersey City, New Jersey, the Sears store at the Newburgh Mall in Newburgh, New York, the Sears store at the Friendly Center in Greensboro, North Carolina, the Sears store at the Willow Grove Park Mall in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, the Sears store at the Plaza Las Americas Mall in San Juan, Puerto Rico, the Sears store at the Cielo Vista Mall in El Paso, Texas, the Sears store at the Westfield South Center in Tuckapoo, Washington, and finally the Sears store at the Valley Mall in Union Gap, Washington State. And that's also the Sears store at Westfield South Center in Tuckapoo, Washington. That's the last Sears store at the Westfield Mall and also in Washington State as well. Okay, so now we're going to go on the map from west to east because there are a lot of locations to look over. So obviously we're going to go from west to east. So we're going to start. This is the first Kmart store that we're going to hit, and it's the Kmart store again in Toming, Guam, just a couple of miles north of the Antonio B1 International Airport. So again, this Kmart store still does remain. It's again on the Toming, Guam, U.S. territory of the United States, and I believe it's one of the last successful Kmarts in the entire chain. So once the Kmart in Guam goes, that'll be it for Transformco's presence in Toming, Guam. So again, this is the Kmart store in Toming, Guam. Oh, I didn't even go over the liquidating stores. My apologies, guys. Okay, so before we go, we'll revisit that in a minute. So here are the liquidating stores that are closing between October and November of 2021. So 3.5 Kmarts, 8 Sears stores, and 11.5 locations total. So the stores that closed today, which is Sunday, October 3rd, 2021, include the Sears store at the Sunrise Mall NY in Massapequa, New York, and the Kmart store at the Shops at Buccaneer in the Bronx, New York. Both of these locations closed today because Urban Edge Properties, which owns both of these locations, terminated the lease of both of them, closed today, and they're going to be moving out all inventory by the 14th of October. Meanwhile, next Sunday, the Sears store at the Triangle Town Center in Raleigh, North Carolina will be shutting down for the final time. That's the Sears store once again, Triangle Town Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. That will be closing Sunday, October 10th, 2021, exactly 1 week from today. And finally, and then in November, closing Sunday, November 14th, 2021, we have the Sears store at the Stonewood Center in Downey, California, the Sears store at the Hastings Ranch Plaza in Pasadena, California, the Sears freestanding store in Brooklyn, New York, in the Flatbush neighborhood of Brooklyn. That mini Kmart will also be closing as well. Also closing on Sunday, November 14th, we have 3 additional Sears stores, which is the Sears store at the Queen Kamahu Center. The Sears store at the Queen Kamahu Center in Kalakaui, Hawaii, the Sears store at the Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg, Illinois, and finally the Sears store at the Colonial Park Mall in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. All those Sears stores, including the mini Kmart inside the Sears store in Brooklyn, New York, those will be closing Sunday, November 14th, 2021. So the other Kmart store that will be shutting down Sunday, November 14th, 2021 will be the Kmart store at the Crossroads Shopping Center in White Plains, New York. And then finally, 1 week after that, closing Sunday, November 21st, 2021, just a couple of days before Thanksgiving 2021, is the Kmart store at the Marshall Plaza Shopping Center in Marshall, Michigan. All right, so let's get back to the map. So the first Kmart that we're going to be hitting is the Kmart store in Toming, Guam. Again, this is the property that's basically just west of California. That's not a Sears or Kmart store, given that Sears at the Queen Kamahu Center in Kalakaui, Hawaii will be closing, unfortunately, next month on November 14th. Excuse me. All right, so now we're going to move on from that Kmart store in Guam and make our way to the mainland United States. So given that the Sears store at the Queen Kamahu Center in Kalakaui, Hawaii is closing, we're going to skip over the Hawaii, and we're going to go from Washington and then down the Pacific coast. So the next Sears store that we're going to hit, and then the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store in Tuckalooe, Washington. Again, this is at Westfield South Center in Tuckalooe, Washington. Again, this is within the Seattle metropolitan area, within the state of Washington. This is the last Sears store in a Westfield mall in the entire country of the United States of America. So definitely significant and definitely sad. That is, for sure. So again, this is the Sears store at the Westfield South Center Mall in Tuckalooe, Washington State. And then the other Sears store in Washington State, which has not yet announced liquidation, which to me is very surprising that this Sears store is still opened up. It is the Sears store at the Valley Mall in Union Gap, Washington State. And again, it's at the Valley Mall, and it's located in Union Gap, Washington State. So the next Sears Kmart store that we're going to hit is the Kmart store at the Bitterroot Valley Shopping Center in Hamilton, Montana. And obviously what is significant about this Kmart of course, this is the last Kmart store in the entire Kmart fleet to have the vintage Kmart logo, so definitely significant. And once this store does unfortunately shut down, it'll be the end. I think it'll truly be the end of Kmart. Although it's been a final nail in the coffin, but this will be a really sad closing when this does go. So again, it's the Kmart store at the Bitterroot Valley Shopping Center in Hamilton, Montana. Okay, so now we get down to California, and the next store that we're going to hit is the Kmart store at the McKnight Crossing Shopping Center in Grass Valley, California. What's significant about this? This is the last Kmart store in the state of California that's not liquidating, of course. So definitely significant because South Lake Tahoe and Freedom closed in August of 2021, and because of that, the Kmart store at the McKnight Crossing Shopping Center in Grass Valley, California is the last Kmart store within the state of California, of course. Okay, so we skip over to the greater San Francisco area, and the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store in Stockton, California, and I believe this is at the Webstertown Mall in Stockton, California. Again, this is one of 4 Sears stores within the state of California that is currently not liquidating. But that could very well change in the next month or so. So I'll keep my eyes out if they do make an announcement on this Sears store closing at the Webstertown Mall in Stockton, California. Okay, and as we just go a little west, more towards the Pacific Ocean, just outside of Oakland, San Francisco, and San Jose, California, the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Sun Valley Shopping Center in Concord, California. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so after that, the next location that we're going to hit as we actually go down the Pacific coast of California, the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Burbank Town Center in Burbank, California. And obviously, this is the last Sears store within the greater Los Angeles area to be connected to a mall. So definitely something rare and significant to see, especially in the greater Los Angeles area. So again, it's the Sears store at the Burbank Town Center in Burbank, California. Okay, and we go, excuse me, guys. We go a little bit southeast, and the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Westwood Town Center in Whittier, California. One of the last 2 remaining Sears stores left in the greater Los Angeles area of California. So definitely significant at that. So again, it's Sears at the Whittier Town Center at the Whitwood Town Center in Whittier, California, and the Sears store at the Burbank Town Center in Burbank, California. And there it is. Actually, no, we just saw. Okay. Okay, so after going through the West Coast portion of Sears and Kmart stores, the next store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Cielo Vista Mall in El Paso, Texas. So definitely significant here. Last Sears store and last Transform Co. owned store within the state of Texas. The main reason for this Sears store's success? Sears Mexico. Sears Mexico is basically why this store has not closed yet, because of how close it is to the Texas-Mexico border. So again, it's the Sears store at the Cielo Vista Mall in El Paso, Texas. All right, and we're going to work our way up the East Coast because there are no more Sears or Kmart stores within this immediate area of the United States. So we're going to make our way up the East Coast of the United States. So the first Sears, the next Kmart store that we're going to hit, this is the Kmart store at the Mall of St. Croix in St. Croix, United States, Virgin Islands. And this is, I believe, this is the only Kmart store within the United States Virgin Islands to have a Kmart pharmacy. Has a Kmart pharmacy. And if I didn't bring it up yet, the Kmart store at the McKnight Crossing Shopping Center in Grass Valley, California, that is the last Kmart to have a Kmart pharmacy in the entire country of the United States of America. That's on mainland United States, of course. So again, this is the Kmart store at the Mall of St. Croix in St. Croix, United States Virgin Islands. Okay, and we go a little bit east on that island, and we actually see an Office Max. The other Kmart store, this is at the, what's it called? The Sunny Isles Shopping Center in St. Croix, United States, Virgin Islands. Again, it's the Kmart store at the Sunny Isles Shopping Center in St. Croix, United States, Virgin Islands. And by the way, I think both have a Little Caesars. You know, the guy that guy that does pizza. And then we go a little bit north, and the next island that we're going to hit is the two Kmarts on the St. Thomas, United States, Virgin Islands. So the first Kmart that we have is the Kmart store at the Lockhart Garden Shopping Center in St. Thomas, United States, Virgin Islands. Okay, and then a couple of miles east of that, we have the other Kmart store on the United States Virgin Islands, and it is located at the Tutu Park Mall in St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands. Also, this has both a Kmart pharmacy and a Little Caesars pizza restaurant. Okay, and then we hit Puerto Rico, and then in Puerto Rico, I guess I should say Puerto Rico. So in Puerto Rico, we have the Kmart store at the Plaza Las Americas Shopping Center in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Again, it's the Kmart store at the Hato Rey, Puerto Rico. Sorry, the Kmart store at the Plaza Las Americas in Hato Rey, Puerto Rico. And then we go a couple of miles southeast, and we hit the Sears store directly across the street. It's at the Plaza Las Americas Mall in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So again, Kmart and Sears literally directly across the street from each other, something very hard to find in 2021. Excuse me. Okay, so after viewing those stores, we're next going to move our little cursor over to Florida, because we have a couple of stores to hit in Florida. So the first store that we're going to hit right off the bat, this is at the what's the name of this? Key Plaza Shopping Center in Key West, Florida. And I wouldn't be surprised if Publix, the supermarket chain down in the Keys, would actually buy out this Kmart building and build a new supermarket. So again, this is the Kmart store at the Key Plaza Shopping Center in Key West, Florida. Okay, so as we go up the Keys and then hit the greater Miami area, the next Kmart store that we're going to hit is the Kmart store at the Kendall Lakes Plaza Shopping Center in Miami, Florida. Again, last Kmart on mainland Florida. The other Kmart in Florida, again, is at the Key Plaza Shopping Center in Key West, Florida. Once the Kmart in Miami, Florida goes, that will be it for Kmart in mainland Florida. So again, it's the Kmart store at the Kendall Lakes Plaza Shopping Center in Miami, Florida. Okay, so go a little bit northeast. The next Sears store that we're going to hit, it's in the neighborhood of, Coral Groves, and it's located in the outskirts of Miami, Florida. So again, it's the freestanding Sears store in Miami, Florida. And it's freestanding, by the way. Okay, so the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears Town Plaza. This is located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Again, it's the Sears Town Plaza store located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay, and as we go up the east coast of Florida, the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Gardens Mall in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. So again, this is the Sears store at the Gardens Mall in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Okay, so the next store that we're going to hit is we're going to go into mainland Florida, and we're going to pass Orlando, home to Universal Studios Florida, SeaWorld, and Walt Disney World, which, by the way, is celebrating their 50th anniversary. And the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Florida Mall in Orlando, Florida. Again, last Sears store within Florida. Not within Florida, but within Orlando, Florida, rather. Sorry. Again, it's the Sears store at the Florida Mall in Orlando, Florida. One of 2 Sears stores left remaining to be connected to a mall within the state of Florida. The other one being at the Gardens Mall. This one being at the Florida Mall in Orlando, Florida. So, anyways, so the next state that we're going to hit with Sears and Kmart stores, this is the Sears store at the Friendly Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. And this is a freestanding Sears store, by the way. And if they and I'm sure this store will eventually close, unfortunately, and that will mark the end of an era. But again, last Sears store in North Carolina, and it's at the Friendly Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay, so then we hit Virginia. So the next Sears store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Francis Scott Key Mall in Frederick, Maryland. Again, what is significant about this? Just like North Carolina, how Friendly Center in Greensboro, North Carolina is the last Sears store in North Carolina that's not liquidating. The Sears store at the Francis Scott Key Mall in Frederick, Maryland, well, that is the last Sears store within the state of Maryland and the last Transform Co. Owned property within the state of Maryland. Okay, so obviously the Colonial Park Mall, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is closing. So the next Sears store that we're going to hit that's not liquidating, it's at the Willow Grove Park Mall in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. This is the last Sears and last Transform Co. owned property within the state of Pennsylvania. Last Sears store, too, once the Sears store at the Willow Grove Park Mall in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania does close, that will mark the end of an era for Sears within the states of Pennsylvania. Okay, so then we hit my home state of New Jersey, and the next store that we're going to hit is the Kmart store at the Delco Plaza Shopping Center in Avenel, New Jersey. This, again, is the only Kmart store to be open 7 days a week, and it was the only one to open today within the state of New Jersey, so definitely significant. And when this does close, that'll be the end of Kmart's footprint in Middlesex County and also in central New Jersey as well. So very sad to see if this Kmart does eventually close, unfortunately. So again, it's the Kmart store at the Delco Plaza Shopping Center in Avenel, New Jersey. Okay, so the next store that we're going to hit is the Sears store at the Newport Center Mall in Jersey City, New Jersey. This is the last Sears store within the state of New Jersey. Once they announce that this store is closing, I will be planning a special trip to the Newport Center Mall in Jersey City, New Jersey, to see this store for one last time because, again, this is the last Sears store still operating within the state of New Jersey. Okay, so obviously nothing left in Manhattan, nothing left in Brooklyn. So we are going to ignore Sunrise for now. This one is closing. So the next store that we're going to hit is the Kmart store at the Bridgehampton Common Shopping Center in Bridgehampton, New York. Target could very well take over this Kmart store. Who knows? Who knows what's in store? Back in the day, this was known as the Martha Stewart Kmart because I guess this is where she shopped and did appearances. At the time when she was selling stuff, obviously now Martha Stewart is selling stuff at Macy's nowadays, no longer at Kmart nor its sister store, Sears. So again, it's the Kmart store at the Bridgehampton Common Shopping Center in Bridgehampton, New York. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and actually boomerang back. We're going to boomerang back to the Bronx. So you can say that 3 times fast. The Kmart that we're going to hit, given that the Kmart store at the shops at Buccaneer Boulevard in the Bronx, New York is closing, the last Kmart store left and the last Transform Co. owned store operating within a borough of New York City is at the Bay Plaza Shopping Center in the Bronx, New York. And once this Kmart does go, that will mark the end of an era for Sears and Kmart's footprint within New York City. So again, it's the Kmart store at the Bay Plaza Shopping Center in the Bronx, New York. Okay, and we will quickly scoot over to my home state of New Jersey, and the next Kmart that we're going to hit is the Kmart store at the Westwood Westwood Plaza Shopping Center in Westwood, New Jersey. This Kmart store, unfortunately, is required to be closed on Sundays because of the Bergen County Blue laws that prevent this retailer from opening its doors. Yes, it's a stupid law. I know. I agree. But it's out of respect, I guess, for the residents of Paramus who have all that retail, and they would like one day off. So any non-essential retailers within Paramus or within Bergen County that do not sell essential supplies must be closed on Sundays within Bergen County, New Jersey. The rule only applies to Bergen County. Anything outside of Bergen County is allowed to operate essential and non-essential businesses on a Sunday. So again, that's non-essential and essential businesses outside of Bergen County on a Sunday. So again, it's the Kmart store at the Westwood Plaza Shopping Center in Westwood, New Jersey. Okay, so given that there are no more Sears stores within the greater New York City area, obviously Kmart and White Plains shutting down, we are down to this is the last two Sears stores, by the way. This is now the last non-liquidating Sears store within the state of New York, and I never would have thought it would have been a one-level Sears store. I thought it would have been Massapequa all the way to the end, but I guess that's not what's in for store with us. By the way, Massapequa did close for the final time today, so good luck to those employees who lost their job today. So, again, this is the Sears store at the Newburgh Mall in Newburgh, New York. Again, it's the Sears store at the Newburgh Mall in Newburgh, New York. And again, this store this store now is the last Sears store operating within the state of New York. Okay, so we'll go across the Hudson River, and our final Sears location that is located just east of the Hudson River, and the last Sears and Kmart or Transform Co. operated store within the New England region of the United States, and it's the Sears store at the South Shore Plaza in Braintree, Massachusetts. Last Sears store in Massachusetts, last Transform Co. operated store within the state of Massachusetts, and of course, the last Sears store within the New England region of the United States. So definitely lots of lasts for this one. And Braintree, Massachusetts is the last in this case scenario. So, anyways, guys, that's about going to do it for this video of the non-liquidating and liquidating Sears and Kmart stores as of Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. Guys, what are your thoughts on this list? Please let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, if you guys can, maybe there'll be more closings this week. Who knows? They seem to be coming out every week now. But anyways, guys, that's about going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to check the links that will be located in the video description below for both the map of the non-liquidating stores as well as the list of the non-liquidating and liquidating Sears and Kmart stores as of Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. I do update it regularly, so when the next round of closings does come out, I will remove the stores that have already closed. And we'll bring those numbers down so that they can be back up to date. But for the sake of this video, I will be keeping it up until there is more further developments regarding closures of Sears and Kmart locations. So, Anyways, guys, thank you again for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this video, and that will be it.